beautiful, pure little minds have been corrupted with lies, 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 lies. All this talk of a modern God or no God. There is one God, the God of the Israelites, 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 the God of the Israelites. And he is a stern and vengeful God, and we have been mocking him far too long, and now he demands retribution in blood.
The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul, and he leadeth me into the path of righteousness.
But not only that, I'll go on even further to say this, that the slave trade is actually connected to Deuteronomy 28, because the majority of the slaves that were brought to the Caribbean islands and brought to the Americas were Ibu people, were people of Hebrew and Hebraic Israelite descent, if you will. And so if you read Deuteronomy chapter 28, it matches perfectly what happened to the Hebrew slaves, the black Hebrew slaves, during the slave trade. It just matches it perfectly.
Back up now. I think we just rung a bell here. Hold up now.
Okay.
Hold up. Hold the presses.
Okay.
Hold up. I hope everyone is listening to this.
Also, there's another law saying if your brother dies, you can marry his wife to carry on your brother's name. That's another law. I'm not going to jump to it, but it's definitely it's either Exodus 21 to 23 or Leviticus. I'm not going to turn there because I'm already going. It's already taking me to another place. Or another teaching, should I say. But I just wanted to point that out, that there are certain laws that pertain to marriage. Now, we were married to the Most High, but we went off and started serving idols. So something had to happen, or we would have had to be taken to the gate and stoned, like we was washed up. But see, as Romans chapter 7 and 3 states that if the man die, then she's free from that law, though she marry another man. Okay? Still, let's get another example. Let's chew on this one right here. Okay? Chew on this one. This is another law. So Deuteronomy chapter 24. Deuteronomy 24, and I'll start at 1. Now, check this out. Okay, because this this is also tied in there. This is a law. Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 1, and it reads, when a man has taken a wife, in this case the man is the Most High, has taken a wife, Israel, and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because we went off and started serving idols. Okay? Because he has found some uncleanness in her. See? It's justified. Then let him write her a bill of divorcement. This is why he divorced us. All 12 tribes. He started with the northern kingdom, ended with the southern kingdom, wrote them a bill of divorce, and gave it in her hand and sent her out of his house. We got kicked out of the land of Israel. Okay? He did it to Samaria for the northern kingdom, and he did it to Jerusalem in the southern kingdom. But let's go. Let's keep going. In verse 2. And when she is departed, see, out of his house, because the land is the Most High's and not actual Israel. So let me make that clearer. So, when she's going out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. Okay? So, we can do Mashiach right there. But see, the thing is, where Mashiach or the Messiah comes in, he's playing the second husband. Okay, let me read that again. I'll start back at 2. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. And if the latter husband, the one that she took after that, hate her and write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send it her out of his house, okay? Or if the latter husband die, see, Mashiach didn't hate us, but he died, which took her to be his wife. This is the law. Her former husband, which sent her away, the former is the one she had before, that which is the Most High, he's the former husband, sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. This is why the Mashiach had to stand in his place. And this is why he had to be just like the Most High. He had to be to him like a T. This was his agenda. This is what he had to fulfill. To be the father for Israel, to be his wife, and him to stand in as the Most High. It's like being remarried to the Most High, but not. Okay, because everything all the judgments, everything, commandments, he brought it all from the Father. He committed his life to the Father. So even if we were married to the Messiah, it'd be just like being married to the Father. That's why he couldn't go off and do new things. Okay? Start again at 4. Her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. After that she is defiled. For that is an abomination before the Most High. And thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which the Most High that power giveth thee for an inheritance. Okay? Now, chew on that one. That's the law. And he figured out a way around that. He couldn't marry us again, but he had a substitute who's just like him, down to a T. So the orders and the speech and the emotions and the judgments and everything comes with being the Most High, he had to be in line with. Because that remarriage or the new covenant will be with that. It appears to be a new God, but it's the same one because he gets his orders from the Most High. He uses the Most High uses him to give orders to set the rules and everything. It'll be just like they are still married to the Most High, but not. Okay. This is why he had to do that, doing things just like that, because in the end, he's going to bring them right back to the Father. So I hate to use the word. I would say puppet, but more like a ventriloquist. He's completely controlled by the Father. He speaks what he wants him to speak, goes where he wants him to go, so on and so forth. So, in that being, it's an exact replica of the Father. This is why it's not another God, because he's still doing everything that the Father wanted. Everything. It's like he's the big man and he ain't got to do nothing else because his representative is going to do everything like he wanted to do it. He could just sit back and cool out and enjoy his glory. Now there's an example of it's no more than going out to war and you let your generals and everything fight and you win the war and they bring everything back to the high man, the big man. Everything is still his. The kingdom is his. But he didn't actually fight or he didn't actually go out to battle, but they bring all the riches and all the spoil and everything back to the big man and giving it to his hand. It's the exact same thing that Christ did. So in the end, he's just as the Father. Because he's mimicking him completely. Okay? That's another jewel right there. Okay, this is why he had to do it that way. And while Christ switched over to the bridegroom. So the husband, she divorced the husband, true enough. We can't marry him again. But we can marry his representative. And his representative has to be everything that he is. Okay? He figured out a way to do it. To marry us again, but not marry us again. Because when we marry the Messiah, it'd be just like marrying him. Just like it. The next best thing, we got the next best thing. Okay? And that was Deuteronomy 24, and I read 1 through 4. Okay, what we're looking at is cargo slave ships from the west coast of Africa every year, starting from the 1500s. Every dot is another ship, one ship. Oh no, we're not. We're just getting started. Keep watching. Wow, they were getting This is Israel. This is the scattering. Yeah, you see some going up to Europe too? Yeah. Pouring in. Hey, open season. All right? Look at them look like gnats in Egypt when when the Most High hit Egypt or Mizraim with all those plagues. It looked, yeah, that's what it looked like, a plague. Goodness gracious. Okay, we're slowing down. Nope. Oh, Israel. This is how you became the African American. And wow. Excuse me. Okay, now that's the divorce, so hence he's coming back for them. But Levi is the reason for all of this takes place. Now, with Reuben and Simeon, we was already getting the affliction. But when we got married, the kingdom of heaven, everything is in that. Okay? And he actually has a representative that he chose to be him. Now, this is why Christ or the Mashiach had to do everything to a T. Be like him all the way. This is why he couldn't come and do away with the law. See, this is all. It's pushing me that way. I'm trying to stay on point, but he had to be the mirror image of the Father. He couldn't go against anything that the Father has said or would do. The Father put the words in his mouth. See, okay, all right. So is that it on that? I mean, there's so much more. John 8:57 to 58, John 14:8 and 9. There's just so many precepts, but I'm trying not to make it too long. So, here. I might read that down. This is John 8. Let's go to 50. Let's go to 57. Then said the Jews unto him, Thou art not yet 50 years old, and hast thou seen Abraham? And Jesus said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am. See that? See, really, this is why Mashiach could only give up the flesh part. Spirit is spirit. Flesh is flesh. But see, to let them know it's the Father speaking to them, the Father had him say that. You know, they took offense. They didn't realize who was speaking to them. Their own husband or their own father was speaking to them, yet they couldn't see it. Then took they up stones to cast at him. But Jesus hid himself and went out of the temple, going through the midst of them, so passed by. Okay. Matter of fact, it's another precept on that. And I believe it's here. Hold on, select. Let's go to 14:8-9. Yeah, 14. This is John chapter 14:8-9. So Philip said unto him, talking about Christ, see, that's red letter. It's Christ speaking. Okay, but this Philip, verse 8. Philip said unto him, Lord, show us the Father, and it sufficeth us. Jesus said unto him, Have I been with you so long time with you? Shalakia? Have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He that has seen me has seen the Father. And how sayest thou then, show us the Father? Believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very works' sake. Okay? See, on my own authority. Alright? I mean, and it's more. 8:42. 8:42. I mean, this is why, see, I don't subscribe to the Trinity doctrine. It's just way too many precepts for that to make sense. However, the Father took complete hold of Mashiach. This is why he ate, slept, and breathed the Father to the point where he started to come out of him. It was ordained that way. That's why the Most High is the Father of spirits. People don't realize yet. Let's see. I don't want to. Okay. Let's see. Did I read 8:42? 8:42, 14:28. Did I read 42? Oh, no, I didn't. This is John chapter 8. Start at 42. Then Jesus said unto them, If God were your Father, you would love me, for I proceeded forth and came from Elohim. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. Why do ye not understand my speech? Even because ye cannot hear my words. See, I want to say I keep reading. I mean, it'll take me going. But the point is, this is why he couldn't change. He couldn't come and do away with the law. See, he couldn't do away with the breaking the commandments. He wasn't condoning that. Being lawless, he wasn't condoning that. So he's telling you the will of his Father. But you think he's telling you something brand new when everything he spoke to find it all back here in the law and the prophets. He had to be all of that, the law and the prophets. He couldn't go against that. He wouldn't go against that. He's the husband in this case. So he had to do everything to a T. Okay? The very fact that he can do that, I'll get one more, is that the Most High said that anybody that didn't listen to him, they won't be forgiven. This is Deuteronomy chapter 18. And I'll start at 18. Well, actually, I'll tell you what he's gonna do. He's gonna break down who to listen to. This is the Creator. I'll read 15 and then I'll jump. The Lord thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken. See? Now, according to all that I have to read this part because this happened earlier to Israel. And that's also all the brothers and sisters in the four corners, Israel, not just in America. I just wanted to add that. According to all that thou desirest of the Most High in Horeb, that Horeb is Mount Sinai, in the day of the assembly, saying, let us not hear again the voice of the Most High, my power. I gotta pull that to the side. Neither let us, come on. It's like I'm gonna read that again. I'm gonna start at 16. According to all that thou hast desired of the Most High, thy power in Horeb, in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of the Most High, my power, neither let me see this great fire any more, that I die not. And the Most High said unto me, they have spoken well. I'm sorry, Shalaki. They have well spoken that which they have spoken. I will raise up to them a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee. Who is thee? Moses. And I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command them. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. And you don't want the Most High to require anything from you, really, because he could take it all from you. Everything is his already, but he definitely makes it a reality.
54% of the Brazilian population is of African descent. You can see the legacy of the slave trade in the faces here. Brazil was the last country in the Western world to abolish slavery. It did so in 1888, 20 years after the U.S. did. But despite the fact that more than half this country has African roots, you may have noticed that almost all of the faces that you have seen so far in the clips that we've shown you from Brazilian television, either corporate media or religious channels, have one thing in common. they're white.
A gente liga a televisão no Brasil, a gente tem
If you turn on the TV in Brazil, there are hardly any black actors or presenters, hardly any black journalists. This is across all of the mainstream channels. We are not seen there. The invisibility of black people in spaces of power is glaring.
Obrigada pela sua companhia. Eu fico.
This is all being part of that husband, and why Israel, even though the Most High didn't like what he saw in Israel, he said, you're making me abhor you by the way you're acting, and you going off and playing the harlot. This being your Easters and your Christmases, okay, for you African Americans, and the brothers and sisters in the four corner Israelites. You going off and start doing those things. He didn't cast you off. See, there's precepts back. I can go to these precepts, but initially, he didn't cast you off. He just figured out a way to still deliver Israel, despite us going off. He loved us so much that he wouldn't cast us away. But these things had to come to pass for him to do that, and still give us the actual rulership of the planet, by the way. That's another teaching. All right, so the marriages with the Most High and Israel, his divorce from them, and him remarrying them, but not to himself, but to his word. It's the ultimate case of you can't save a people who broke everything you said. Or you can't be around them. And he said, I can. It's part of that I am. I can. Okay, so no new gods here. For you Torah only ox and my people in the four corners where he got us scattered, Israel. Some of them being the American Negro. He said I can. So I ain't gonna, it's an abomination to me to marry you again. But that same wife I used, or the same husband that I used in this case, is not me, but my actual word. So, Israel, the remarriage or the new covenant is the remarriage not to the Most High, but to his word. Okay? Beautifully done. Beautifully done. They really snagged us with that law done away with. They're tricking us with that so bad, and we fell for it. It's interesting how Christianity today told them something, they ran with it without even doing study, but they send the prophets of the Most High through hell just to prove they know anything. You know, but those who are meant to get it will get it. All praises to the Most High. All praises to your name, Father. You know what's interesting about that when he comes back? No, I may leave that for another time.
Of people portraying Yah's chosen people, they're receiving payments of reparations when the Most High's chosen people were shipped to the Americas on slave ships. Let's face it, they knocked the faces of biblical pages. They became a nation of imitation, occupying the borders of places that didn't give them an invitation. They have fake us, tried to erase us, learn our language, mixed it with German and tried to replace us. But I give credit where credit is due. They did a good job. Because we won't even wake up. And when we try to tell the truth to Christians, they don't embrace us. Even if we had plenty of blush and a soft brush, there are some things you just can't make up. And all I could think about is Yahusha's statement, synagogue of Satan. Their impressions ain't even impressive. They're like a melanin should be the elephant in the room, but no one wants to question it. Because prejudice is prevalent. Racism is evident. Evidently, even if all signs point to us, we still need indisputable evidence.
Okay. So, let's go back to Genesis. I think I've covered a bit on the husband and wife. Okay. So, and the join. See that? And that join. The join, them being married, joined together. You know, I'm trying to help you understand when she's naming the sons. You think that, okay, if his name is this Reuben, his name is this Simeon, his name is just Levi. But there are certain prophecies in there that'll happen to her people as a nation, her offspring. Right on back to Genesis 29. So Leah, our great-grandmother, is having children by our great-grandfather. But how is she seeing all of this? Insight. She was definitely moved with the rock. Sorry, y'all. I just had to think for a minute because these are it's happening to a T. And wait till we go with Judah here. Judah is where we get our kingdom shines. Or really it's the Most High's kingdom. Not, I don't want to get confused, but they're going to be just in a so-called African Americans low state. He still can dominate in all sports and entertainment, right? Just think when the Most High's kingdom is given back into our hands and we do it in righteousness. There'll be no type of music like we make. There'll be no type of parties like we throw. And righteousness. Will really be something to see. All praises to the Most High. In the name of His Son. Wow. So, I spent a lot of time on Levi. I could, yeah. There's just so much information on Levi that I can't even include Judah into it, because Judah can take up a whole video of itself. So can Levi. Really, each one of these could have taken a whole video within themselves. Probably exhaustive video. So I may just end it here on Levi. And there is more information. I just don't want to say that it's the end, but just for time's sake to move on. We'll do Judah in the next video. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to say all praises to the Most High in the name of His only begotten Son. And it's not Jesus. It's not. You study, you find out that's not His name. For you African Americans who's not aware of that yet. But that's a whole nother. Just you'll be amazed at even saying the slightest words can take you down a whole road to proving that. Okay, but for time's sake, we'll end it here. And I should say, Kwam Yasharala, or that is Rise Israel. Come back to your nationality, so-called African American, and then Negroes spread it throughout the four corners of the world. The Israelites, come back to your power, because the kingdom is, all this is for you. It's set up for you to get rulership of the planet. And this is why you need to know this stuff. It's promised to you. But there are those that's trying to cheat you out of it. So, I'll end Levi here. And with that said, shalom.
Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and all the peoples of earth will weep as they see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. The great trumpet will sound, and He will send out His angels to the four corners of the earth, and they will gather His chosen people from one end of the world to the other. Revelation 1:7 says, "Look, He is coming on the clouds. Everyone will see Him, including those who pierced Him. All peoples on earth will mourn over Him." The Bible says everyone on earth will see Him, because at that time the earth will be reeling from the polar reversal, allowing every place on earth to see the coming of Jesus Christ. 1 Thessalonians 4:16 says, "There will be the shout of command, the archangel's voice, the sound of God's trumpet, and the Lord Himself will come down from heaven. Those who have died believing in Christ will rise to life first. Then we, who are living at that time, will be gathered up along with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so we will always be with the Lord, by God's angels, from the four corners of the earth, and brought together to meet the Lord in the air." 1 Corinthians 15:51 says that when the resurrection happens, Jesus will transform His people, mortals, into immortals. and God's army of angels will gather his Christians, bringing them to Jerusalem, where they will appear from heaven with the Lord, to defend Israel. Revelation 19:11 says, "And I saw heaven opened, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he does judge and make war." Zechariah 14:4 says, "He will take his stand on the Mount of Olives east of Jerusalem, and the mountain will split in half, forming a wide valley that runs from east to west." From here, Jesus will go out to wage war against the Antichrist and his army, and the many Arab nations coming against Jerusalem and Israel. Joel 3:16 The Lord roars from Mount Zion. His voice thunders from Jerusalem. Earth and sky tremble. But he will defend his people. Revelation 19:14, "And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean." Joel 2:4, "They look like horses. They run like war horses. As they leap on the tops of the mountains, they rattle like chariots. They crackle like dry grass on fire. They are lined up like a great army, ready for battle. As they approach, everyone is terrified. Every face turns pale. They attack like warriors. They climb the walls like soldiers. They all keep marching straight ahead and do not change direction or get in each other's way. They swarm through defenses, and nothing can stop them. They rush against the city. They run over the walls. They climb up the houses and go in through the windows like thieves. The earth shakes as they advance. The sky trembles. The sun and the moon grow dark, and the stars no longer shine. The Lord thunders commands to his army. The troops that obey him are many and mighty. How terrible is the day of the Lord! Who will survive it? Revelation 19:19, "Then I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies, gathered to fight against the one who was riding the horse and against his army. The beast was taken prisoner, together with the false prophet who had performed miracles in his presence. It was by those miracles that he had deceived those who had the mark of the beast, and those who had worshipped the image of the beast. The beast and the false prophet were both thrown alive into the lake of fire, that burns with sulfur. This burning place is likely the valley which Jesus creates by splitting the Mount of Olives. And into it will be thrown the Antichrist and his false prophet, who deceived many by his satanic miracles, such as calling fire down from heaven, in the sight of people. It will be by these miracles, which people will be deceived into taking the mark of the Antichrist, on their forehead or right hand, and worshipping the Antichrist and his image. Jesus will go out to wage war against the Arab armies, gathering against Jerusalem and Israel. It will be in the valley of Medigo, where this much-published Battle of Armageddon will take place, between Jesus Christ and the 10 Arab kings and their armies, which they have assembled together, and are advancing toward Israel to destroy the last remnant of the Jewish people. Revelation 19:12 describes Jesus saying, "His eyes were like a flame of fire." Revelation 19:15 says, "Out of his mouth came a sharp sword, with which he will defeat the nations. He will rule over them with a rod of iron." The sword from his mouth will utterly destroy these Arab armies by a burning fire. Ezekiel 39:6 says, "I will start a fire in the land of Magog and along all the sea coasts where people live undisturbed, and everyone will know that I am the Lord. I will make sure that my people Israel know my holy name, and I will not let my name be disgraced anymore. Then the nations will know that I, the Lord, am the holy God of Israel." Revelation 20.
I see the real Jews woke up. Hope that y'all have fun. Trying to be like us, y'all. Hebrew Israelites standing up. Hey, hey, we're standing up. Hey, hey,
yeah. That's right. Gotta get the facts right. I hire the doctor. Prescription, the act right. No lie, we slaves. Why slaves don't fight? Deception, we black. That's opposite like they be like. Lie after lie made long enough. Change the name and color of Christ as if they wasn't wrong enough. Try to keep us sleep with dope, but it isn't strong enough. Try to feed us monkey stuff, but they ain't King Kong enough. Got die. Hit them super guard, offer us. Give me some of that COVID spray to keep the demons off of us. Let me get that red pill. Thank you, Mr. Morpheus. From a slave to a king. What a metamorphosis. My life had effects a lot. Abba, the water. Thank you, Father, for the bread and water. And milk, I stress. Resting in peace, now we above the rest. I'm blessed.
Hope that y'all have fun, tryna be like us, yeah. You like standing up, hey, hey. You standing up, hey, hey. I see the real Jews woke up. Hope that y'all have fun, tryna be like us, yeah. You like standing up, hey, hey. I'm standing up, hey, hey. You must have mad, cause the word ain't got no truth today. I'm just tryna lighten you on what the scriptures say. I can't think I'm cray in the cultist way. Cause I wanna do exactly what the Bible say. I'm just trying to stand up and if you ain't been heard, I ain't tripping, do your thing, don't bring that this way. Okay, demons that linger around trying to attach to prey. That's why I pray every day to keep Satan away. People lied to his Negroes, we still some slaves. We were root 3 and 8, we still captive today. They done took off the chain and got our mind enslaved. For the almighty dollar, we still a smaller. We tear down each other and hate to see another one higher than another. Willie Lynch had a plan to keep us under the sand. I'm thankful that the Most High woke us out of the train. He woke us up to stand. See the real Jews woke up. Hope that y'all have fun, tryna be like us, yeah. You like standing up, hey, hey. You standing up, hey, hey. I see the real Jews woke up. Hope that y'all have fun, tryna be like us, yeah. You like standing up, hey, hey.